Today on the CTV News at 5, Tabor police have a man in custody in connection to a disturbing voyeurism case at a public washroom. Plus, the FBI released images of 2 suspects in the Boston Marathon bombing. And a Coleman couple at the marathon recount the shock of learning about the bombing.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Tabor police say public tips have led them to the man that they have arrested and they believe could be responsible in connection to a camera being found in a local washroom. Police say a camera found in this 7-Eleven was used to capture hundreds of images over several years. They say the convenience store wasn't the only place the camera was used. The images suggest that it has been placed in dozens of other locations. A Burdett man was taken into custody after police executed a search warrant. Tabor police are consulting with special prosecutions before they lay charges. Police will release further details in a media conference tomorrow. They have not released the suspect's name. And Lethbridge Regional Police are looking for a man who is reported to have offered money to 2 teenage girls to be in a pornographic film. It happened yesterday near 9th Street and 9th Avenue. The girls aged 15 and 16 say that they didn't know the man. He pulled up beside them in a blue Dodge Ram truck and followed them after they said no to his offer and walked away from him. The man is described as white, over 40 years old, with brown curly hair. He is a medium build and he also has a beard. The start of the license plate was KEY. If you have any information, you're urged to contact police or Crime Stoppers. And today, the FBI has released photos and video of 2 suspects in the Boston Marathon bombings, and it's asking for the public's help identifying the men. The images came from surveillance cameras near the explosion sites shortly before the blasts. One suspect is believed to have planted the devices near the finish line. FBI agents say the men are considered armed and extremely dangerous. Monday's blast killed 3 and injured more than 180. Within moments of the FBI releasing the images on its website, the website crashed. It was a somber day in Boston where U.S. President Barack Obama spoke at a memorial service for victims of the Boston Marathon bombing. Meantime, as we mentioned, the FBI is trying to track down the 2 men who were on cameras near the scene. Tatha Bradley reports.
Today, a grieving city is trying to heal. President Obama and the First Lady joined Boston residents at an interfaith service dedicated to the victims of the marathon bombing. The president offered support and encouragement.
Our prayers are with the injured. We will all be with you as you learn to stand and walk and, yes, run again.
The 2,000-seat cathedral was packed with victims, first responders, government officials, and members of the community. There were prayers for those recovering from injury and tears for the 3 people who died: 29-year-old Christo Campbell, Lindsay Liu, a native of China, and 8-year-old Martin Richard. Tracy Monroe saw Martin's body and helped his younger sister, who had lost a leg.
I just imagined that if my daughter were injured like that, and she was so badly injured and so scared, and but she was so incredibly brave.
As for the investigation, sources tell ABC News the FBI has images of 2 men, both possible suspects. The best video comes from cameras at the Lord & Taylor store.
There is some video that has raised the question of those that the FBI would like to speak with, but we need the public's help in locating these individuals.
FBI agents are also processing hundreds of pieces of evidence recovered from the crime scene, including tiny circuit boards, small nails, and the remains of a pressure cooker bomb.
It's extremely important to match the bomb to the bad guy.
Officials are increasingly confident that they will find this killer or killers. A photo of the possible suspect or suspects could be released today. Tamon Bradley, ABC News, Boston.
For one Southern Alberta runner, this year's Boston Marathon was more than fulfilling a personal goal. Al Robinson was running for a purpose: to raise money for an orphanage in the Philippines. But only 8 minutes after completing the race, Robinson heard 2 bombs go off near the finish line. His wife, Carrie Ann, was just a few blocks away. Now, safely back at home in the Crow's Nest Pass, the Robinsons are beginning to realize just how lucky they were. Terry Bolt reports.
At an event where performance is measured in time and distance, Al and Carrie Ann Robinson were only minutes and meters from 2 explosions that will forever mar the 2013 Boston Marathon.
It's starting to sink in, reality.
The more we talk and tell stories and people asking questions, it's just kind of starting to hit us more now that we're home.
For Al, the Boston Marathon was more than crossing a personal goal off the bucket list. He was running to help raise $55,000 for an orphanage in the Philippines. But less than 8 minutes after crossing the finish line, as Al and other exhausted runners were being ushered to a family meeting area, the unthinkable happened. 2 bombs exploded about 10 seconds apart, leaving 3 people dead and more than 170 injured.
Although we heard the blast and saw the smoke, we had no idea, at least from our perspective, the devastation that was going on downtown.
For most of the race, Carrie Ann had been standing on a crowded street, only meters from where the bombs exploded. Looking at a Google map of the area, she shows us how she and a friend likely walked past one of the bombs about a minute before it went off.
When it actually happened, I thought, oh, I think maybe a big bus fell over or whatever, it crashed. But then just keep walking down the street, and then a few seconds later it went again. My friend and I looked at each other, and it was just like, oh, I've never heard this sound before. This is no accident.
You know, just sad over there's so many families that are affected and the devastation there.
The Robinsons say Boston will always be in their hearts now. They have been touched by the generosity of the people, the strength of the community, and they pray for the people who were injured or killed.
I thought, wow, this hits home so close to home, because we know people that have no home and no hope, and we wanted to run to give them that. And so it more or less reinforced the value of life and just how fragile it is.
The Robinsons are determined they won't dwell on the what-ifs. Instead, they talk about how fortunate they were and how thankful they are. Terry Vogt, CTV News, in the Crow's Nest Pass.
Runners in Lethbridge paid tribute to those affected by the Boston attacks. Their weekly meeting began with a minute of silence last night. The Runner Soul Marathon Club asked participants to wear a racing bib to show support for those killed or wounded in the attacks near the finish line. Organizers say it was the least they could do to show they are behind those in Beantown, and say the attacks will not deter them from running in future races.
We asked everyone to wear a race shirt, just to show their support and to show that we're going to continue participating in the sport of running. We're not going to be scared away.
Obviously, as runners, we're a very tight-knit community, and an event like that is a celebration that we go to after a lot of hard work and training. And for something as horrendous as that to happen, it just really makes my heart break for all those people that were there, the spectators and the families of anyone that was involved.
I don't think anybody that's running now is going to stop because of this. It may have people head out and run more.
Dory Rossiter, deja vu in the forecast.
I know. Haven't we been through this before, where a weekend starts off with rain, turns to snow? That what looks like the pattern is going to be for much of southern Alberta, parts of southeastern BC as well. Some areas in BC already seeing the rain, and we've got heavy snowfalls for northern BC and northern Alberta. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of today, and I'll have the details coming up in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. A trial date has tentatively been set in the mysterious death of a Medicine Hat College nursing student, even though police have yet to find her body. 35-year-old Jarrison Stepanski from Medicine Hat is charged with second-degree murder in the death of Amy Lewis. The 23-year-old has been missing since June of 2012. Despite a massive search, Lewis's body hasn't been found. Police say they have evidence Lewis is deceased. Stepanski's month-long trial is tentatively set to start February 18th of next year. Several people were taken into police custody this afternoon after Lethbridge police executed a pair of search warrants on the city's west side. Witnesses tell CTV News that police raided as many as 4 of the townhouses along the 200 block of Mount Crandell Crescent. Police then led several possible suspects away in handcuffs. The Alert Drug Task Force coordinated the effort. No word yet on the quantity or type of drugs that may have been seized. The investigation is ongoing. Rescue crews are still not sure how many people were killed in an explosion at a fertilizer plant in Texas. The plant exploded 24 minutes after fire erupted inside. Volunteer firefighters were trying to douse the flames when the blast happened. They're among dozens of people missing. The explosion so powerful it leveled homes in a 4-block radius and shook the ground with the strength of a small earthquake. Police fear up to 15 people are dead. 160 more have been injured. At the nursing home, windows blew out and ceilings collapsed on patients. And in Medicine Hat, officials there are keeping a close eye on what's happening in Texas. Canada's largest nitrogen fertilizer complex is inside Medicine Hat city limits. It's run by Canadian Fertilizers Limited and produces over 1 million tons of ammonia per year. City officials say there's a 3-kilometer buffer zone around the plant, which would prevent any homes from being closer. They also say when the cause of the Texas explosion is revealed, they'll make sure that they have plans in place to prevent that kind of incident. A member of the Emergency Dispatch Center team in Lethbridge that handled last September's wildfire has been recognized as the city's Communications Specialist of the Year. Eric Pelsman was presented with the award during a ceremony today. Pelsman was working when the Public Safety Communications Center was flooded with calls from concerned citizens. Officials say Pelsman did an amazing job managing resources, monitoring transmissions from multiple agencies, tracking efforts, and ensuring medical calls were attended to while remaining calm and collected. Pelsman says he was just doing his job.
It feels really good because I know there's people that have worked there for 5, 10, 15 years. They've got way more experience than me. But for my peers, my coworkers to say that I deserve this award means quite a bit.
Time now for a look at the day's markets.